We reached the middle game of our 5-game set on this Saturday afternoon now, here from Providence, Rhode Island. You're watching the JWHL Providence Showcase. Get to the middle of this JWHL season, and we've got a good one. It's the teams that have the bottom 2 records, but that usually means it's going to be tight. And there's going to be a lot at stake as both these teams that have had a tough time coming by points know that 2 points are really up for grabs in this one. When you've struggled, sometimes the best thing that can happen is you take on a fellow struggler. Gives you an opportunity to pick up that victory. And in the case of Washington Pride, the team on the right side in the white uniforms, black and khaki trim, they're still looking for their first victory of the JWHL season. They're taking on the Pacific Steelers, all in red this afternoon. White numbers, and right off the bat, the Pride nearly stuffing one in close. Good start for Carly Hinz. This is the second time that we have seen the Pride here at Providence College today. Earlier today, over at Brown University, the Steelers fell in a heartbreaker 3-2 to Mount Academy. This is the U19 division. Mason Stelf on the call for all 5 games here in Friartown. Providence College, this stunning venue, Schneider Arena, built in the 1970s, and of course has played host to some absolute legends of the women's game. And of course, their men's team in 2015 taking home a national title just north in Boston, where that Frozen Four was held, and that is where the next stop on the season-long journey of the JWHL goes, just west of the great city of Boston in Wellesley, Mass. But still have plenty of hockey to play here tonight and into tomorrow. 3 games tomorrow, 1 at the U16 level, 2 at the U19s. To wrap up this Providence leg of the season. Steelers have it. Dunked in there deep by Caitlin Snyder. One of a small group of 2023 players on this Steelers roster. They do have one 2022, and that's their goalie Sierra Eagles, wearing number 19 in the cage off to our left, as the Pride make their way right to left. That one, a little bit of indecision on whether that was going to be a shot or potentially a hold-up and then a pass, and went for the shot, but not a lot of mustard into it. Olivia Robbins, who scored the lone goal for the Pride earlier today as they were defeated by Stansted College, who we will see in the nightcap tonight in the 7 o'clock matchup. Robbins scored a first-period shorthanded goal for the Pride. Ended up being a fairly healthy defeat. 2 players go caroming into the boards. Pride try and clear. Held in there by the Steelers though, but it takes a carom off, and now an opportunity to break on the counter. Here comes the speed. The Pride gonna get tripped up. See the speed of Casey Blum, who was a bright spot in the opener this morning. Got her body in the way, had it kick off of her, and then turns on the Jets. Goes right at the teeth of the defense. And we're going to have a very quick penalty to start off this matchup. Almost a penalty you have to give. Just 2 minutes and 51 seconds into it, and into the box goes Melissa Parton for Pacific. Team hailing from Richmond, British Columbia, which is immediately south of Vancouver. But the team that had the furthest distance in terms of mileage to reach Providence, Rhode Island, I would assume flew cross country from Vancouver to Boston, and then made the drive down. I know they do not have a direct flight from TF Green Airport, about 20 minutes or so from here in South Providence. to Vancouver, Washington, or Vancouver, BC either. Vancouver, BC. I always find it interesting that Vancouver, BC and Vancouver, Washington are not close to one another. Icing whistle will go to the other end of the ice. That's always a tough one. Commit icing on your own power play. Talk about one of my cardinal sins of ice hockey. Never want to ice the puck on your own power play. Venturing forward for Washington is Robbins. Comes around to the near side where it's Wojak. Wojak circles the cage, wheels, does a 180, comes back to the near side for Didi Tyndall. Back around again, it's Robbins. Stick got in the way. Jaya Freer was the one who got that interception. And now here come the Steelers. Short-handed Carrington Mullen all the way through, tries to go on the backhand, denied. Avery Schiff, who didn't have a great save percentage in the morning, but really didn't have much that she could have done through about 5 of the 6 goals that Stansted College put past her. In there again for this second game of 2 today for her squad, as the power play will expire with no harm done on either side. But just as Robbins scored the shorthanded goal, it was nearly the Pride conceding a shorthanded goal on their first power play of this second game of their day. Pride entering the matchup 0-9-1. Steelers 2-10-0. Both teams definitely knowing that this, of the matchups that they've had this weekend, they're most likely to come out with 2 points. These teams met just about a month ago, November 19th, and it was a 2-0 shutout victory in favor of the Steelers. That's the only time these teams have met in the JWHL campaign so far. Five and a half minutes gone, no score. That one taken right off the stick of Caitlin Tong. And then runs away from Melissa Parton. Puck with a mind of its own that time. Still there though for Richmond, for the team from Richmond, for Pacific. Switching coastlines from Pacific to Atlantic. Washington Pride from the nation's capital. About 7 hours or so away in Washington, D.C. .50-50 puck. Pride emerge with it with Sydney Solaire. Pass across to Wildberger. Immediately hounded and put under pressure by Snyder. Washington has that one chip up. Golfed in there deep, and it will be covered and held by Avery Schiff. 13-19 to play in the first period. No score. This is a historic venue in the sport of women's ice hockey. Those of you who didn't turn into the last game, just a little bit of a history lesson when we have an opportunity about just what this venue and what this school, Providence College, means to women's ice hockey. As that one escapes past the red line, retrieved by the Steelers, played off the rebound, grabbed there by McMenamin. All the way down in there deep. No icing, the official saying that that got a touch on its way through traffic. Played along the near boards. Got tied up a little bit in the feet. Now going for the sub. Pass behind the red line, now launching herself forward. Wojak, but she immediately runs into a wall of bodies, and it comes out to Robbins. Robbins tried to go with the skip pass. That slight deflection takes it beyond the blue line into neutral ice. The intended target, Matire. That one trapped nicely by Shmunis. But again, that comes out into the neutral zone, and the Pride have to retreat. Played all the way down, but good hustle to get in there by McCluskey and prevent the icing. But now this one rolls up the far side, and an opportunity, 2-on-4. Trying to get through and nearly drag down Sydney McKay, but fair play, at least adjudged by the officiating crew. Pass out front, trying to get a point-blank look in the slot that got through all the legs. Takes a funny hop off the corner boards. Centering pass in front. Somebody's got to be there for the Steelers, but no one was close. Closest was Caitlin Pennefather, wearing that Captain C on her chest. Pennefather waggles through traffic, but gets cut off by 3 Pride defensemen. 9 minutes gone. Moving it through. Slightest touch on its way by Schiff. Backhanded look in front. Second effort. How about that? The intended target was Caitlin Tong. She swung and missed, but great backup play. Finds its way to a teammate, and no nonsense on that one. Slammed through by Jaya Freer. That's why you're taught to follow the puck. Because if the first player doesn't get it, and that's a tough pass to handle for Tong, because it's lifted over the defensewoman's stick, which means it's going to come through and bounce. Tong missed it, but it settled down nicely, and a gorgeous slapper from Jaya Freer to put Pacific up 1-0, and now they look for more. Frozen in the crease by Avery Schiff. Again, this is a really important school in women's ice hockey history. You have to go back to when women's ice hockey really first came into the mainstream here in the United States, which was the 1998 Winter Olympics in Nagano, Japan. It was the first time that they ever had women's ice hockey at the Olympic Games. Everybody knew it was going to be a U.S.-Canadian final, and it would be the Americans who emerged on top. Of that U.S. national team in 1998 that consisted of 20 members, 7 of them were Providence Friars. The most notable, of course, and the name that will probably ring the most to the neutral fan, is Cami Granato. Class of 1993 here at Providence College. Her number 21 up in the rafters off to my right. But 7 different players from Providence making up that 20-member team. 35% is Schiff falls over but holds on. But Vicky Movsesian, Cami Granato, Chris Bailey, Sarah DaCosta, Lisa Brown-Miller, Lori Baker, Elena Blachowski, all Providence alumni. And representing the U.S. in that 1998 Nagano Olympics. It didn't stop there. There have been a dozen different Providence players, former and even current, that have been represented at the national level in the Olympic Games. Most recently, their graduate student Sarah Kjellmarsen, who's a member of the Swedish national team and went to the Olympic Games, and still a member of their active roster. And probably the most notable recent Friar to play at the national level and win a gold medal, Geneviève Lacasse of the Canadian national team, who certainly has become one of the favorite rivals at the U.S.-Canadian battle that resumes year in, year out in the world stage, and of course most notably every 4 years at the Olympics. But even though this Providence women's team has only advanced to 2 NCAA tournaments this millennium in 05 and 21. Worth noting just how important this school has been to the development of this great sport. And of course, Canada, where this Pacific team hails from, has always been hockey crazy, but not always hockey crazy on the women's side. And as women's sports have grown, they have certainly embraced their women's national team, as they have here in the United States, but it is still an upward climb for the women who play at the national level in those countries. There's going to be either a slash or a cross check. We'll see which one they eventually whistle. But knocking the stick out of the hand, fairly easy call that time. Whistled against the Pride, and that will be a slash. So into the box goes Astrid Wilbur. We'll give a shout out. Astrid's dad next to us, putting on this outstanding broadcast. So would not be able to be here without him. Nearly a broken down play by Pacific, but they retrieve and will venture forward for their first major attempt on this power play, leading it a goal to the good. Pressure being applied. Played off the Karam to Mullen Carrington. And it's through and in. Only took one major attack. And the finish coming from Maddie Rye. And the last time these teams met a month ago, it was 2-0 to the Steelers. Not even 13 minutes in, it's 2-0. .12:22, the time of Rye's goal. Coming off the power play against Astrid Wilbur on the slash. And the Steelers, with both teams already having played today, so it's not necessarily going to be a question of whose legs are fresher, but just who is the better team out there, and so far it is the team in red and white. Covered up by Eagles, who's only faced 3 shots so far. 7-3, the shot comparison through 12.5 minutes in favor of the Pacific Steelers. But just to finish the thought on the growth of women's hockey, as that one's taken away, finish the thought in a second, as one-on-one opportunity, Casey Blum hit it right into the chest protector of Eagles, and the second attempt went wide. Steelers come the other way. Gloved by Schiff, and she holds on. But of course, it's been well documented, the very difficult and at times inability to start a full-fledged professional league in either the United States or Canada. Something that really gets staying power and major draw, which is disappointing when you consider how much attention the United States and Canadian national teams get when we get to the Olympic level. And these players that do generate significant viewership. Talk about a Geneviève Lacasse, Kendall Coyne-Schofield on the United States side. Just for whatever reason, it's just been very difficult to get that off the ground. And it is a major draw in European countries where there are national leagues and you can play professionally. And you see that with other sports as well. Women's basketball, volleyball, which is huge overseas. Again, something that you watch every 4 years at the Olympics. You follow the U.S. national team, and then you turn off the TV, and you won't pay attention to volleyball again until the next Olympics roll around. And it's just been an uphill battle not just in women's ice hockey, but just in women's sports, and it is growing. It's taken a lot of time, longer than it probably should have. But events like this and places like this draw attention, and the college game is growing, that's for sure. Women's college hockey has always been big, and it's getting bigger. And when we get to the nightcap, that 7 o'clock game where Stansted College plays again, we'll talk about women's college hockey a little bit more because of how many players have committed from that squad. That is a very veteran-laden team with a huge complement of players who have already committed to college hockey. Not as much here for the Steelers and the Pride, at least not that they have listed. I'm sure plenty of them have committed. But Stansted doing a little bit better job of at least advertising where their different players are going on their line charts. Final 4:40 of the first period. Pacific Steeler goals from Jaya Freer at 9:10 and Maddie Rye at 12:22, the latter coming on the power play. Left circle, offensive zone face-off for the Pride. After a lengthy battle, the Steelers will come out with it. But kept in and sent back in there deep. Long run to the puck, retrieved by Astrid Wilbur. Player gets wheeled around. And now players caroming to the ice. Wilbur had it taken off of her stick by the outreach of Freer. And will be gloved by Eagles. Might have gone high, but Astrid Wilbur getting the shot away on the wrister. (7-6) now as the Pride have taken the last 3 shots on goal in the contest. And this is the middle game of 5. We started back at 9 this morning here, although the day actually started an hour earlier than that over at Brown. And we will wrap things up here. The Brown day coming to an end, and we will finish off the night here at PC. All 3 games tomorrow, starting at 7 in the morning, will be played over at the campus of the Bears. We did have our morning session briefly interrupted as the Pride will be sent to the box once again, and this time it's Matire who will be in the sin bin for 2 minutes. But we had our morning session interrupted. There was no 11 o'clock game because the Providence Friars men's team had to practice. They practiced from 11 till about 12:50. And we quickly cleaned the ice and got back on track. Wilbur playing hard up against the boards with Rye. Rye goes to the ice. Steelers, though, maintain possession. Rye has it on the left side, exchanges with a teammate, now backhands it to her. There's a little bit of a poke check in there to take the sting out of the pass from McCluskey. And of course, no icing with the power play. So it just trickled its way all the way down. And the attack starts again for the Steelers, who are successful on their last power play attempt. Pass across, Schiff uses that left pad to deflect it up high. 2:45 to play in the period, 1 minute or so to go on the minor. Rye swings it across to Blum. That one trying to get sandwiched in on Schiff, and did it go through? It did! Schiff could not cover. She's saying, how is that not goalie interference? But she never had a hold of it. And so, knocking it through into the open net was Mira Smith. Hard luck for Schiff and the Pride. And it's the 3rd goal of the period. This is becoming a trend. 3-goal periods. Our last matchup at the U16 level, we saw Ironbound Elite score 3 goals in both the first and third periods, as Eagles catches that in their left-handed catcher's glove. What a stellar start for the Steelers. The Steelers don't play tomorrow, as that one shuffles its way behind. So the Steelers will have the early start back to Vancouver. Whereas Washington, they will play in the final game of this showcase against Northwood tomorrow at 11 o'clock in the morning. Again, all 3 games tomorrow, starting with the 7 a.m. puck drop between the Pride and Mount Academy at the U16 level, will be over at Brown. Played behind the net. Grace Wildberger. That one chipped all the way up and way out. Robbins tries to find a teammate, but dispossessed by Stella Hong. And that will draw things to a halt. Really 2 outstanding rinks to have this Providence leg of the JWHL season. Be an auditorium at Brown is probably a little bit more impressive looking on the outside. That big silver dome as that one caroms off the post and in. From distance, kept it low, and it's the captain, Caitlin Pennefather, who cashes in inside the final minute. 4-0 Steelers. At 19:05, 4 goals from 4 different goal scorers in this first period, starting with Jaya Freer at 9:10, then Maddie Rye at 12:22, Smith at 17:29, and now Pennefather at 19:05. It's our first 4-goal period for one team today, and it has been textbook. They've taken 12 shots on target, and a third of them have found the cage. And that one whistled along the ice, barely leaving the rink's surface and pinging off of both posts and in. You cannot get more on the money than that. Final 13 seconds. We won't cut the ice until after the second period, so as this one makes its way down, it will just be a short break in between periods 1 and 2 as Eagles passes it behind and the horn sound. Well, a game that we expected to potentially be close has not been through 20 minutes as the Pacific Steelers stung a little bit earlier in their 3-2 loss to Mount Academy, coming out firing. And through 20 minutes, they lead it over the Washington Pride 4-0. We'll take a brief pause and come back with second period action. You're watching the JWHL here in Providence. Washington Pride really needing to hit the reset button after that first 20 minutes as the Pacific Steelers rolling to a 4-0 lead. Goals from 4 different skaters. Could not ask for a better start for a team that's trying to get their season back on track. Just the 2 wins through 12 games to this point in the season, with a couple more showcases to come in Boston and in Minnesota. Mason Stauf on the call for all 5 games here at Providence College on this Saturday. We wish everybody a very happy holiday season, regardless of what you're celebrating or who you're celebrating with. We hope you have a very happy holiday season. And the Pride respond quickly. Escaped into open ice. Catherine Willie gets this second period off to a nice start. 43 seconds in. And that is exactly what the Pride needed. It wasn't the cleanest development. Again, this is a game played with a small piece of hard rubber on a giant sheet of ice, so things are going to bounce weirdly at times. But sometimes it bounces in the right place at the right time. Right to Willie, and really patient play to beat Eagles cross net. Ooh. Olivia Robbins just got hit right in the upper torso area, and that spun her to the ice, but she appears to be okay. As strong as the start was for Pacific, there is still 40 minutes of ice hockey to play. So if you think for a second that this game is over, and if the Steelers think so, then they could be in for a rude awakening. You get a couple of goals in the first 10 minutes of this period, and it's wide open hockey game. Of course, the key for Washington is they have to shore up the defense. There is still time to make a comeback, but that's not possible if you concede multiple goals in this second period. You got to keep it right where it is at 4 and hope that your offense can work your way back in over the final 40 minutes of time. And a good start from Catherine Willie. And we did see that in the second game as well, as this one brought forward, and it's kicked through. Stella Hong uses finesse over power, lifts it off the post, and it makes its way into the back of the net as well. And Willie's goal undone just 3 minutes later. The 5th different goal scorer for Pacific. And that one hurts for Washington. You felt like you had that little bit of momentum after you scored that goal. And now you're back to square one again. Washington is offside. This will come to the right face-off dot, neutral ice. Hong joins Rye, Freer, Pennefather, and Smith in the goal-scoring column. All 6 goals in the game have come from different skaters now. Very different from the first time these two teams met a month ago down at the Richmond Coliseum when it was 2-0 at the end. We already had 6 goals and we're just starting the second period. Schiff deflects it behind. We have not seen this Washington team think of switching the goalie at all. The other goalie on their roster is Abby Tanner. And that one blown dead. It did eventually seep in, but whistle blew first. But we've had 22 shots combined, 6 goals. Defense and goaltending have not been the story in this one. It has been relentless offense for the Pacific Steelers. They have made the most of their opportunities. Tyndall came away with the initial draw. Washington just trying to get it out of the zone. Now they do. Let's see if they can mount something. Robbins, we know she has speed. Showed that scoring a shorthander earlier this morning. This one whipped through, took a hop through a couple of bodies. Still there for the Pride. Sting taken out of it, and Eagles pounces. And grabs it in her talons. .16:21 to play in the second period. We'll take the longer intermission after this one. Bring the Zamboni out and clean things. Draw one cleanly by Washington. Set through by McMenamin. All the way through. Gotta score here! Eagles shuts the door. Trying to shove it through. Instead, it comes out into neutral ice. Launching forward is Snyder. Snyder ended up knocking the stick out of the defensewoman she was battling against. Through the circle, played out. Cross-ice pass. Freer picking out her teammate. Maddie Rye, who was waiting on the other side. Pride try and clear, but held in on the right side by Rye. Schiff pads it away. Freer all the way through on the triangle. And this should be an icing. So 5 skaters will have to stay out there for Washington. The later this game goes, we will see how these teams fare. Long days yesterday, long day today. When you're playing upwards of 4 or 5 games over a 3-day period, that is very taxing. And even though I always say these are teenagers with what seems like limitless energy, that energy eventually runs out. And like a little kid on a sugar high, the body will just eventually crash. And probably by the end of this third period, the legs will want to really not stay up anymore. But again, I always like to say, again, you're watching this as a family member or a friend, and you're watching this because you want to see your loved one, as that one nearly stuffed in at the near post. Great look there, right out in front by Blum. Loves to camp right in front of that crease and try and get one in from close range, closing the pads and diving on it as Eagles. But you watch this as a family member or friend, you're there to watch your loved one, but you're really not necessarily watching for what a scout or a coach is looking for. And of course, there are scouts and coaches who I assume are watching this game. And they're watching for different things. They're watching for, okay, you've played 4 games in a weekend over a 2-day span. Who still has legs at the end of all that? As you play at the collegiate level, no, you're not playing 4 games in a weekend. But when you're going up against the cream of the crop, how do your legs stand up at the end of a long third period when you've been on the defensive side for much of the game? Who has that late push? I love to look for that as well. Try and dissect things a little bit differently than a broadcaster just calling the action, because when you see the teams over the course of a weekend, you get to learn the players, you learn their tendencies, but you also learn to see who has legs and who doesn't. Pride. Lengthy bit of possession here for the team in white, black, and khaki. That one skirted the rim of the boards. A little bit unlucky as it made its way back down ice. Taken there, but offsides against McKay. And we'll come to the left dot this time. 13:31 to play in the second. Both teams have scored a goal in this period. Took just 43 seconds for Catherine Willie to score and get this Washington Pride team on the board, but that was quickly answered within 3 minutes by Stella Hong. Pride have closed the gap in the shots on target column, now 16-13 in favor of the women in red. Played off the hop. Puck gets on the short end, rolls down toward the opposite end of the ice. Taken back on the poke check. And the poke check in return gets it back to Washington. It was Matire on the dispossession there. Through, Eagles didn't know much about it, doesn't know where it is, and now was able to get that skate pinned up against her post. That one went to her right. She thought it went left, and that's going to be a tripping call that will send another Pride player to the box. This time it's Sydney Soler. So Soler on the trip at 7:30. They might actually get her for a hold here. No, interference. It's one of those. You interfered with the plater by holding her, and by holding her, you tripped her up. So take your pick on which of the 3 penalties you're going to issue. They do call interference, 2 minutes nonetheless. It's been clean hockey. There's been plenty of penalties, but nothing egregious. We have not seen any major penalties, and these players have all kept things honest between them. No scuffles to speak of, which obviously happens a lot less at the women's game. Not to say I haven't seen it. Pride take it away. Let's see if they can break on the shorthand. Here's an opportunity. They get inside. Denied by Eagles. It was Willie looking for her second goal of the period and Washington's second shorthander of the day. And Eagles going full Splitsville to deny it with that left pad. The 2 most important reflexes that a goalie, or the 2 most important attributes that a goaltender has to have: reflexes and flexibility. They are gymnasts back there. And to do it with all that padding is always so impressive. They are a different breed, goalies in hockey. So the Steelers, after nearly conceding on their own power play, now moving the puck forward a little bit more gingerly. Pass across. Schiff kicks it up behind. On the shot attempt by Snyder. Slowly makes its way to Stella Hong, who has a goal in this period herself. Pass across, kicks out Parton. Snyder battling in there deep. 50 seconds left on the woman up. Taken away in there deep by Wojak. Wojak reverses the pass to a teammate. Chipped up and out. Sticked down there by Winchell. Winchell plays it to Parton. Parton, 180s, now reverses. Centering pass denied. Still there though with Pacific. This pass does not get it past the blue line. That's really good work just to get there in the nick of time by Kala. Final 10 seconds of the power play. Again, it's Kala there to keep it in. Dot comes through, sails high. Door is open, power play is over. Pride are going to go for a change rather than immediately sending the 5th skater in to join the fray. Here comes Grace McCluskey, and we're back to 5-on-5 officially. So the Pride kill off the penalty, but still trail it by 4. Chasing it in there is Wojak again. She's the lunch meat in between the 2 sandwich bread on either side. Taken back by Washington. Have a chance to go 3-on-2, but that pass just a little bit behind of Robbins. And that allowed the stick of a defensewoman to get in there. And again, offside will be the call. .9:40 to play in the second, just past the midpoint of our third game, which means we are just past the midpoint of our day here at Providence College. We still have one more under 16 matchup to come your way. Puck chop scheduled for 5 o'clock. And Washington only had 4 skaters on the ice. And that's a sign of a little bit of tiredness as well. Not physical, but mental exhaustion. And I actually will say that's kind of the officials to let them sort themselves out. They do have to do that for protocol purposes. You can't just have 4 skaters out there and then just send the 5th out to almost pounce on the defense. That'd be a funny play if you could do it. And this time it's going to be the Steelers who are sent to the box. The second interference penalty in a row. Each team has been called for one now. Melissa Parton, part of that 2024 class, sent to the penalty box. Both teams heavily laden with 2024 graduates. Both teams have one 2022 on the roster. Washington has Grace Wildberger. And to mention the Steelers, their goalie, Sierra Eagles, part of that 2022 class. Gorgeous 1-2! That is how you execute on the power play. Catherine Willie, her second of the period. And it's Willie on the 1-2 from the 2022, Grace Wildberger. So Willie, at 11:58 of that second period, gets her brace, and again, chops the deficit down to 3. And still, nearly half the hockey game still to go. You got within 2 heading to the third period. No reason to think the Pride are not still in this game. So right into the power play they went, and that is gorgeous work. But right out of that, that was very nearly another goal for Stella Hong within mere seconds of the Pride scoring themselves. And that one just seeps past. Looked good from this angle, but then you watch it go behind the cage. Always most susceptible to conceding a goal right after you've scored one, and that one will get to the red line before it can be tracked down by Willie. But a back and forth second period with 2 goals for Washington, 1 for Pacific. Steelers have it. Weaving through is Mullen. Gets one in front, right there in the crease. Did Schiff get on it? She did. No! She couldn't cover. And another hard luck goal conceded by Washington. It's the second for the captain, Pennefather. I thought Schiff had pounced back onto it, but Pennefather this period has just been a little bit kooky. Catherine Willie's first goal at 43 seconds. It took less than 2 minutes for Stella Hong to immediately restore the 4-goal edge and make it another one. Yes! Get the puck in front of the net and good things happen. Pennefather has a hat trick through 2. You see the teammates on the bench signaling the tip of the cap. Now, the officiating crew, I think, is going to go and take a peek at this. Nope, they're good with it. Pennefather has 3. It took just 29 seconds between her second and third goals. And the captain, Caitlin Pennefather, has made this a 7-2 game in a matter of moments. But again, it was just less than 2 minutes between Willie's first goal of this period and Stella Hong restoring the 4-goal lead. And then from Willie scoring her second of the period at 11:58, it took less than a minute for Pennefather to score her first. First of the period, second of the game, which she would follow up with the completed hat trick just 20 seconds later. It's the beauty of junior hockey. Typically they are high-scoring games, lots of attacking action. And what oftentimes happens is there are broken pucks in the crease. The drops happen more frequently. There's more loose pucks in front. That's why it's so important that you get players that are ready to pounce on those loose pucks and cash in, because they're going to be there. Several times a game you're going to have an opportunity with a puck literally lying in the crease because the goalie just couldn't quite handle it cleanly. And Avery Schiff, who really did have a strong game this morning, going up against Stansted College, again, has conceded a lot of goals. She's had a rougher second game than she had in the first. The first, she was just beaten by really good shots. This one, she's just had difficulty in all those bodies coming up with the puck cleanly. And this officiating crew has let them battle in the crease. Some officiating crews will blow things dead quickly. This crew has not, and it has not been to the benefit of the Washington Pride. As we tick under 6 minutes in this second period. Just crazy to think when these teams met a month ago, there were 2 goals in the game. We have 9 goals, and we've played just over 35 minutes. Not even 35 minutes, we're approaching that point. Played behind the cage, Steelers looking for more. Held in there, through the slot, Schiff dropped it, second effort, it's there for another. This time it's Caitlin Tong, her first of the day. And a flurry of goals in the second half of this period. Eight 2. When just minutes ago it was 5-2, and you thought that the Pride, after that second Willie goal, might have a chance to get themselves back in. But I said it at the start of the period, the goals, they may happen for this Pride team. The question is, could their defense keep goals out of their own net? And the answer to that has been no. Back-to-back 4-goal periods for the Pacific Steelers with 5 minutes to add more. The Pride take it. See if their attack can mount something here. And see how really crazy a scoreline we can get to by the end of 3. Played at the defensive blue line and knocked forward by Schmunis. Off the carom, no icing. Back there is Rye. Whips it around to the near boards. Trying to apply some forechecking pressure. The Pride, that one hopped up ugly, but it went behind. Both teams battle for it. Goes right back to where it started. Hins out to the right point. That one takes a wobbly deflection. Retrieved by Wildberger. 4 minutes to go in the second. Pass out front. Held it at the left. Shot. Great save by Eagles. Left-handed shot by Wojak. But Sierra Eagles able to come up with it. This is not an easy spot for Sierra Eagles, too. As when you have such a huge lead and the goals are flying in left and right, even if you're the team that's winning, ooh, player blew a tire for the Steelers and took out Wojak. Luckily, it looks like both are okay. Always have to be careful. That happens. Those skates fly up, and those are razor-sharp blades. Now, due to the scoreline, the clock is also running. So 3:05, we tick down under here. Pride trying to play it out of the defensive end. There's a battle taking place in front of Schiff's goal. And Schiff did not take too kindly to the Steeler, Paige Brossard, trickling closer and closer to her crease and eventually gave her that nice shove in the back. There's not quite as much checking on the women's side. That doesn't mean it is not physical. Steelers bring it forward. Schiff, gloves and holds. And despite the scoreline, that does feel good for Schiff. Just to see that one go into the glove and stay there. Fortunately, she has not had the sticky mitt in this one. Face off, one clean by the Steelers, but the Pride take it back, at least get into neutral ice. That one just out of the reach of everybody, as everyone swings like hungry, hungry hippos and nobody gets purchase on it. Pass across, nice little no-look too. Oh, deft piece of play by the captain and hat-trick hero, Caitlin Pennefather. That one spinning like a top, taken by Pacific. Bounces just to the left of Schiff's post. Final 80 seconds of the period. The Pride can see the tired legs, a combination of, you've now played 5 periods today alone, plus your matchups yesterday. Went 5-0 on the defensewoman, covered up by Eagles. But the scoreline also certainly takes the energy out of you. Those 3 quick goals that the Steelers scored after Willie made it 5-2, just sapping whatever momentum they were trying to gain. And now with the clock running down, and because of the scoreline, we are playing running clock unless the Pride can score again and get the deficit back below 5. 5 or below, I should say. It will continue to run through the third period as well. Final 22 seconds. Pass to the near side. Long look, went off of the back of a defensewoman. That was Schmunis who got the body in the way on the shot attempt by Freer. Final 10 seconds. Pride, they might have a break on here. There's plenty of time. It's stopped by Eagles. And then Eagles gets taken out. It was going to be really hard to stop Casey Blum. She was going in at full speed. Stuffed by the pads of Eagles, and then Blum putting her hand on her head as if to say, how does that not go through the 5-hole? Eagles looks to be okay. And that brings an end to a crazy second period. One in which we had 6 goals, 4 of them for the Steelers, who add 2 more to their lead. We had a second period that completed Caitlin Pennefather's hat trick. Had one at the tail end of the first, added 2 more in the second. And we will get a chance, as will the teams, to catch our breath. As they head back to the locker rooms, we will clean the ice. Eagles looks to be okay. That's all that you can hope for after she made the save on the breakaway attempt from Blum. And her team in firm control of this one, heading into the final 20 minutes. It's Steelers 8 and Pride 2. We'll be back with the final period of action. After this, you're watching the JWHL here in Providence, Rhode Island. back inside Schneider Arena, ready for the third period after one of the more chaotic periods, if not the most chaotic that we've seen so far here this weekend in the JWHL. 6 goals, 4 by the Steelers, 2 by the Pride. We've seen our first hat trick of the afternoon from Caitlin Pennefather, the captain of the Pacific Steelers. We've seen scrums in front, we've seen drop pucks, we've seen some goals that in other games might have been called back for goalie interference, and today or not. It's just been a little bit crazy, but ultimately it's been a lot of fun. But the Pride are certainly going to hope that this third period gives them a little bit of a foot to build on as they head to their final matchup tomorrow. This is the end of the Steelers tournament, as I mentioned. They will head back to just south of Vancouver, British Columbia after this. I would hope that they aren't flying tonight, but this is junior hockey and you fly at weird times. You fly when you can, basically, when the budgeting permits. So my assumption is you'd fly out tomorrow, but I could be very wrong, and you could have a late night flight out of Boston to get back to Vancouver. Meanwhile, the Pride will hang out for one more night, make their way over to Meehan Auditorium tomorrow morning, and after their U16s start the day against Mount Academy at 7 a.m., this Washington Pride team will finish up the weekend with an 11 o'clock bout against Northwood. But this is one heck of a day of sports, whether you're watching this on one screen while tuning into some combination of NBA, NCAA basketball, NFL football, college football, and this morning the third place game in the FIFA World Cup. There is no shortage of things to plop your butt down on the couch and watch on this Saturday as we build into the Christmas holiday in the coming week. As I said to start the broadcast, the happy holidays to whatever you're celebrating. Whether it's Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Christmas, or just an opportunity to breathe and spend time with friends and family. Penalty against the Pride. Second time into the box today for Astrid Wilbur. And her frustration evident as she slammed the door so hard it bounced right back into her. It's just been that kind of afternoon for this Pride team. See if they can kill off this penalty, though they have been one to go forward and try and seek a shorthanded goal. So do not put that past them. They've already had one of those today by Robbins in our opener. Played off the far boards. Steelers move it forward. Try to break in 1-on-2. Blocked up high, but into a dangerous area. That's the other thing. At this level, on both men's and women's, doesn't matter. When we talk about goalies, the one thing that they're still learning is rebound control. The rebounds will happen. You can't glove everything cleanly. But when you concede rebounds, where you concede them is of prime importance. And it will be even more so at the collegiate level and ultimately beyond for those who have aspirations to play beyond that level. It is so important that if you can't glove it cleanly, you're gloving everything to the side or behind. Easier said than done. You say, Mason, it's easier said than done. That looks easy, it's not. 9th goal for this Steelers team. I think that one was Freer again. At this point, the Steelers, in sportsmanship, not overly celebrating any goals by going down the line. So unless you get the quick glance at who scored the goal, it can be tough to read just right off the shirt. But it's 9-2 for the Steelers. Again, we have running clock for the remainder. Barring the Pride scoring 2 goals, anything above 5, and the clock will run. So that will, unless the Pride were to score a couple, which they certainly could. They have the talent offensively. They've just had a really rough day on the defensive side. Barring that, we'll have a little bit of a lengthier break between this one and the 5 o'clock puck drop. There's an opportunity. Another blown tire gave an opportunity for the player coming out of the penalty box, Astrid Wilbur. Through all the bodies once again, but had it away this time on the shot from Blum. If there has been a player who's, again, stood out as positive, and not anticipating that you've heard me broadcast before, but I always try and seek positives even trailing 9-2. There is always something positive. Someone has done something good. I've liked what I've seen from Blum. That's going to be a trip, no doubt about that. Grace Wildberger will head to the box as she touches the puck and will now head over to the box, and she knew it. But there's been a couple of times where Blum has been in on goal. Eagles has just been fantastic. And when your team's up 9-2, you're not going to focus too much on the performance of Sierra Eagles. But she has saved 18 of the 20 shots that have gone her way. And the 2 that got by her from the same player, Catherine Willie. It is worth noting that we will stop the clock for penalties. So that is the lone time we will see this clock stop. Routine stoppages, frozen pucks, offside, icing, clock will run. To log a penalty and to get the power play started, that will stop the clock as normal. So clock now running down inside of 14 minutes. We have still yet to see a really close matchup here at PC today. 3 really entertaining hockey games with lots of goals. But the balance has been heavily skewed to one side in all 3 games. We still have 2 more chances to get something a little bit more in terms of a nail-biter. As the day has wrapped up over at Meehan Auditorium at Brown, so everything focused here at Providence. And we follow this up with a return to the U16s. The same Washington Pride team on the U16 side, taking on an Ironbound team we saw in our last game, and Ironbound looked strong. Haven't had the opportunity to watch the Pride at the U16 level yet today, so it'll be our first look at them here at PC. Interference will be the call. Snyder will head to the box and will play 4-on-4 for the next 41 seconds. Before after that, the Pride will have 1:20 of power play time. Did have to keep that line out there for the Pride, even with the power play. Pass across, just into the feet. That was a tough one. Tried to play it off the one-timer by Willie, who was looking for her hat trick. Talk about someone who stood out positively. In addition to Casey Blum, has been Willie, has both the goals. And if she could get a hat trick, it'll be not necessarily one that she'll celebrate heavily with the scoreline what it is, but you remember every hat trick you've ever had in most cases, unless you're, of course, someone like Alexander Ovechkin, speaking of someone that plays in the state of or in the territory of Washington, D.C., not the state, but territory, who at this point I can't imagine that he remembers every hat trick he's had. But when you're a young hockey player at this level, you probably do remember every single one you have in the JWHL. There can't be too many of them. Hat tricks hard to come by at any level in any sport. Drag forward, top shelf finish. And Catherine Willie does have the hat trick. Well deserved, too. It's not going to be the outcome in terms of the scoreline that she wanted. But again, that is something to be proud of, without a doubt. Catherine Willie scoring at 43 seconds of the second, along with 11:58. Tough to pinpoint the exact second with the clock running. So we'll say 8:50. We'll give her credit on that one. That wipes off both penalties. The first one had already concluded, and that was on the woman up advantage. 9-3 in favor of the Pacific Steelers. But we've now had a player on both teams tip their hats with 3 goals apiece. Caitlin Pennefather on one side for the Steelers, and Catherine Willie on the other for the Pride. Well, the neutral fan has been entertained. 12 goals in a game. Don't see that very often, even at the junior level that is known for a lot of scoring. Now, they still have a couple more to live up to what I believe has been the most chaotic NHL scoreline I've ever seen. 9-8, with my beloved Los Angeles Kings falling to the Seattle Kraken. Why am I a Kings fan? That was my first job out of college. Worked for the LA Kings. Tried to sell Kings season tickets at a time that LeBron James and Kawhi Leonard were coming to Los Angeles. Not the easiest job in the world, but still formed my hockey fandom that is still in its infancy, to be fair. Cannot say I was Kings fan when they won their 2 cups in 12 and 14. But still, 9-3 scoreline. Been a lot of fun for the neutral. Pride scamper after it and regain possession. Matire looking for a teammate, able to shuffle it off to Robbins. Pride have scored 4 goals today. Only 2 players have scored them. Robbins had the 1 shorthand earlier today, and now the 3 from Willie. That one takes a flick off of a stick on its way to the near boards. Taken back by the Steelers once again. And brief bobble, but collected by Schiff. Certainly a tough game to be a goalie on either side. Been so many long stretches where Eagles hasn't been troubled and then suddenly has to be at her best. And she'll be happy with the victory, but you know that no goalie likes to concede 3 goals to 1 player. But a win is a win, and it's going to be a good way to finish off this weekend event for the Pacific Steelers. That is barring something truly ridiculous, which, based on the way this game has gone, I'm not going to say it's impossible because I've seen weirder things happen, but it would be certainly difficult. One more score by the Pride will at least stop the clock again and get them back to within 5. This one ripped through again, covered up by Schiff. 7 minutes to go in this one. Our next puck drop is scheduled for 5 o'clock. You had your 1 break earlier between the 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. games. We roll through the evening from here. And we have gotten to that stage in the contest that I talked about in the second period, where the legs at this point, you're willing them to move. Every ounce of anaerobic energy that you're spending here is just so painful. All you want to do is sit in a long, hot shower for a month. More likely you'd go into an ice bath, which is hurting even more, but that's what these fantastic athletes put their bodies through. It will be a well-deserved and hopefully very good night's sleep for the team from Richmond, British Columbia. But as I said, I'm not sure what their travel plans are. I would hate to play all these games and then have a late night red-eye to Vancouver. But I know that that is sometimes what you have to do when you play these sports, not just in hockey. Talk about the basketball, the baseball, the soccer premier showcases. Impressive what these athletes do, but even more impressive what the families do to support the endeavors. And all these individuals have aspirations of playing hockey at the collegiate level, whether in the United States or Canada. As I said, we'll talk more about the pursuit of collegiate hockey when we get to Stansted College in our nightcap and we have a list of all the different schools that they'll be attending. But you talk about being a high-level athlete in 2022. It's even different from when I was growing up, and that was not that long ago. I'm not that old, but it's very different. That was really before the AAU circuit and the basketball side of things really came into its own. And there was still an encouragement when I was growing up to play multiple sports. And now we have that huge divide between those who are encouraged to play multiple sports and believe that that is what players should do, and other people who say you should be playing the same sport 400 days a year for 28 hours a day. I'll be honest, I err on the first side. I think being multidimensional is important, and I think that the research has shown that playing the same sport day in, day out all year long taxes certain areas of your body, particularly at a young age, to a ridiculously unsafe extent. But for these young women out there who live and breathe hockey, and this is what they want to do, this is what they enjoy doing, it's tough to tell them differently. Now, there is sometimes that trio of sports that you will see women at this level play. They'll do that field hockey, ice hockey, lacrosse combo. I've seen that plenty of times. And I call plenty of field hockey and women's lacrosse. So you sometimes will see that trio. At the very least, field hockey and ice hockey comparable in terms of some of the techniques that you use. And you add lacrosse in there, similar stick handling, if not very different in terms of how it's played. But more and more, we are getting to this. You play for your club, you play for your school, you play for a summer league. Just never stop playing. And you go all over the country showcasing your talents, and it's great to see them. Sometimes you do wonder at what cost. And when I say at what cost, I do mean financially as well, because hockey is not a cheap sport. Look at all that equipment that these goalies wear. Sierra Eagles in one goal and Avery Schiff in the other. Talk about goalies being a different breed. That's a different level of expense, too. Final 2 minutes. 9-3 as this game has kind of petered out in terms of opportunities. Steelers not pushing so hard that they're looking for that 10th goal. They'll get it if it comes, but again, this game has been well settled since that 3-goal flurry in the tail half of the second period. When Pennefather completed her hat trick, there is the 10th. Cashed in this time by Caitlin Tong, who has her second. Tong has one, Rye has one, Freer has one, Tong with two, Pennefather 3, Smith has one, and I think I'm missing one in there. I am. That was that 9th one that again was taken quickly and with nobody running through the line. Couldn't quite see who the lettering was. I thought it was Freer for her second. So just for ha-has, we'll say it's Freer's second. But it's 10-3 as we wrap things up for our third game of 5. And I appreciate those of you who humoring me a little bit with the game out of reach. Just the ramblings of a tired broadcaster on this Saturday afternoon. It's a busy time of year. After this, again, Washington Pride and Ironbound Elite at the under 16 level comes your way with puck drop at 5 o'clock. We should start pretty much on time. Plenty of time to clean up the ice, get the teams warmed up and ready for that one, and then we will wrap up the night with Stansted College out of Quebec and Northwood. That puck drop in the 19 and unders scheduled for 7 o'clock. So double digits. The Pacific Steelers run out to a 4-0 lead after 1, and they do not look back. 4 more in the second, 2 in the third. And they get their 3rd win of the JWHL season and improve to 3-10. Pride fall to 0-10-1. They have one more chance to get in the win column tomorrow as they will wrap things up in that 11 o'clock puck drop over at Brown. So we'll say goodbye, at least for 20 minutes, and come back on the other side with game 4 of 5. Your final score in this one, though, the Steelers 10 and the Pride 3. My name is Mason Self, and you've been watching the JWHL here from Providence, Rhode Island.